All right, and welcome to the P114 Filmmakers podcast. This is season 2, episode 11, folks. I'm one of your hosts, Jesse Knight.
Miranda Lanier.
Tyler Schulte.
Aiden Ford.
Kat Holmes.
And we're here to talk about all things filmmaking. Today we're going to talk about villains. All right, so when did the trailer for the Joker open up? Yesterday or this week or something like that? Okay, so this is a good thing to kind of start off with, you know. Typically, most of the time, most films, especially centering around comic books and that kind of thing, had been for a long time sort of centered on the heroes, the good guys, if you will. And there's sort of been a pattern, one could argue, over the last 20 years, really, that's been slowly happening where the whole idea of an anti-hero has become very popular. Almost to the point where characters who were originally all bad are now being shown as being a very gray kind of area where you can maybe even feel something for these or identify something with these characters. I'm not saying that's wrong or right, but what that does do is it unleashes a whole bunch of problems with what people think in general of these kinds of things, and you know, is it good or is it bad? Well, that's a loaded question right there and subjective. So, I'll just open it up. Initial impressions of the Joker trailer. Go. Anybody.
I can't stand it. I mean, honestly, the idea when it first came up of them doing this movie ticked me off.
Right.
Granted, I'm an old school comic book fan.
Right.
Villains were villains, heroes are heroes. There was no divide in between, no gray in the middle.
Right.
Now, and you say when it started, in movie form, yes, in probably past 20 years. But in comic book, they started this back in the 90s.
Right.
And it kind of started with Venom.
Mm-hmm.
They made him into more of a anti-hero than a villain for Spider-Man.
Right.
And because they start out being he was a villain. He wanted to beat Spider-Man up. You know, he wanted to get revenge on Spider-Man.
It's pretty much all bad.
And he was all bad. Then they kind of twisted it to where he just didn't like Spider-Man. He could help everybody else.
Right.
So it just like, I mean, they came out with they didn't come out with a series of him.
Right.
They came out with a series of mini-series or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the first one was called Venom Lethal Protector.
Right.
That was the catchphrase of it,
Right.
Lethal Protector.
I may have that, I think. I'm not sure.
But it was like, 4 or 5 issues. I can't remember.
They have the die
how long
cut
it was,
covers.
Maybe.
Yeah. They were doing a lot of weird stuff.
I never picked up an issue because I thought, well, they're making Venom into a hero. That makes no sense. He's a villain. And so they kind of started with that. I mean, Magneto, you could even consider being Magneto when they put him in the comics. He was totally villain.
Right.
I want to get the X-Men. Then they
over
time they kind of made him into an anti-hero where he just wanted his piece for his mutant kind.
Right.
Yes, and so that he wanted, but he didn't like humans.
Right.
He was anti-human.
Sure.
But for mutants he was nice to or whatever.
Right.
Or if somebody tried to challenge him on his beliefs, then he would take him down. But so that was kind of toward the 90s, into the 90s also, and like I said, each one of them became that way. This movie, I don't even want to see it. He's not a hero. I mean, and it's not like the trailer doesn't show him being a hero. Now that I think, or at least the trailer doesn't show it anyway. Sure. But but it's just like is he a sympathetic? That's the thing about it. Is he a sympathetic character or?
Right.
I don't know.
He's not supposed to be a hero. He's supposed to be a villain, and I think that they're showing a different take on. And I don't think it's just really about the Joker, like the original Joker. I'm not a fan like you, so maybe this is why I'm taking it this way. I have the right. You have the right. But I think that they just bringing in this idea of a character and bringing it to a different light. Maybe not so much of what you think he is, but just a different version of him, just like there's so many other versions of him. And I don't think he has ever been a hero just a villain, but this is just showing you not just how it got to that point, but that he is a human being and this is where it started. If this is what they're going with from thinking of like the Batman series and the Joker series. Maybe, like I said, they're just making this whole entire theme up of a Joker, a guy named whatever, turning into a Joker.
Right.
But then why just call it Clown?
Well, right, they already have like 5,000 movies named Clown, and I think...
Well, call it something else. I mean, I'm just throwing a good Clown out.
Right, you know, it's in Gotham. It's in Gotham. There's so many ways that they're going about this.
Call it New York.
Yeah,
again.
Exactly. You're right. They're pointing it towards Batman's and the thing, but at the same time, I don't know that they're also going with how you're perceiving it. They're just creating their own version of it.
Right. I mean, I agree with you.
I get what you're saying at the same time.
The thing about it, well, I mean, I'm let other people talk. I'm sorry, but I just want to say one thing. They're turning these Joker is a psychopathic killer. The character of Joker is psychopathic. In any form, but of course, apparently, they're in this trailer is going to be that way too. But at the end of the day, what kids are not going to be able to see this movie. They were able to see Dark Knight. They did go see. I know a lot of kids probably went to see Dark Knight, and I kind of doubt that they're going to be able to go see this. Maybe they probably will, because people are thinking, "Ooh, Joker from the comic books, but that's a good thing, whatever." And same thing with Harley Quinn. I don't like her character being a true life Harley Quinn. I mean, a lot of people may say like her portrayal in Suicide Squad or whatever. Anyway, but I mean,
I like Suicide Squad.
I like Suicide Squad. I like the movie, but because like I said, there's too many kids going to these cons dressed up as that Harley Quinn, which she was not dressed as a kitty way.
Right.
Now there's some coming in.
Raunchy.
Yeah.
She wasn't happy about that either.
The girl that played it,
Yeah,
she wasn't.
So I'm saying that they see these things,
Wait, young girls were dressing up? Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
My brother was dressing like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if
See
they
why
want,
that's a problem.
if they want to come
It's
to
like
them,
beauty pageant mentality with that kind of stuff. It's
when
like,
when they come to, I mean, again, I don't have kids, so I'm not even saying that as a parent, or anything like that.
Right.
But I don't. But anyway, I just think that, like I said, again, kids are looking at this as Batman villain. Okay,
it's okay to be the Joker.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay to kill people.
I think that this just really highlights a part of human society that we don't really want to look at, but it is an honest, real thing.
True.
I think this whole trailer and the whole Joker, I think they're just trying to find success off Heath Ledger. I think they're trying to get that back.
Right.
Right. They definitely want to get that back.
My main complaint about it is just really due to my own perception of what the Joker is. Like, I'm not but here's the deal. I'm not a big superhero kind of person. The comics I was collecting was like Conan and stuff like that, not very superhero-y. Just this brute running around from village to village and killing people was basically what I grew up reading.
But he didn't do that maliciously. He wasn't going around murdering people for he was being a hero, saving people.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
So he was a hero.
Yes, I can agree with that. But then also there are other comics. What's kind of interesting though is you have a series of good guys that are doing kind of not good things, even though it is to bad people generally in the case of Conan. But also I noticed what pulled me into superheroes was the X-Men comics of the 80s. Wolverine was really violent. Super violent, and at least in the stuff I saw.
Yeah.
Oh,
like I know that those people were not alive after he got done with like all 10 of them that he went through,
But he wasn't doing it to innocent people.
Right, they're all gangsters and stuff like that. But he showed no mercy. I get it. I get that. But there was this darkness to the good people that they showed in comics, which may have been, you could argue, as a way of sort of the slippery slope, which I hate that term. But into things such as...
But they were designed to be heroes at the start.
Yeah, exactly.
I get his argument, they were the villains were started as a villain, not a hero.
Right, like in the case of Magneto, for sure.
It's a villain.
But once you have a character like that who's been around a lot, with Venom they went really quickly, right?
Yeah, not too long.
Yeah. And that's kind of funny. Like it's almost like he just hates Spider-Man because he's kind of jealous, or he's like a jilted lover because he got.
The part of it is the symbiote too, is that he hates Peter Parker or whatever because he rejected him or whatever.
Exactly.
But seriously, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But
But-
Magneto is different to a point. I can tolerate
Right.
Magneto to a point.
Because he always had
Look
he always had that kind of thing. He always thought he was doing something that was good, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it too,
Mhm.
is that I can tolerate a villain when they can consider themselves a good guy.
If that's part of their.
That's a good villain, though.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you-
yeah.
When you can,
Thanos,
they see them,
too.
they
That
see
kinda
themselves
works.
as the hero.
Right.
That's a good villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That makes me think about politics, though.
Yeah.
And
good.
I'm not gonna go
Oh,
into
yeah,
politics.
let's not
Just
get
saying
into
it
that.
makes me think of
Oh
politics.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But in
As-
general, yeah,
that's as it should. It's part of it.
it's almost more annoying.
It's a commentary. All stories that humans make are commentary on the worlds and stuff that we experience. and live
Also,
in.
I mean, this is produced by Martin Scorsese.
Mhm.
It's directed by Todd Phillips, which I forgot that it was Todd Phillips until today when they were talking
Right.
about on the podcast I was listening to.
Right.
But Todd Phillips is mainly has done a lot of comedy movies,
Right.
old school,
Right.
a lot-
Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head, but anyway, he's done a lot of comedy movies.
So this is a
And-
big change for him.
Yeah, so this is his kind of foray into drama or
Right.
type thing,
Yeah.
which, I mean, again, it's fine, but like I said, the subject matter is not what I have a
Right.
problem with.
Like what I was talking about with my own perception. My own perception of Joker is a gangster who's like crazy. Maybe he'll say something that'll totally make me laugh. There'll be parts of his character I like. I like the Jack Nicholson Joker in the first. Well, in the first movie, it was really the second, I guess, Batman movie, I think. But the first Burton
The ones we
Batman.
really think of.
Yeah.
Not the one with the big giant
Yeah.
bomb running around
Yeah,
and stuff.
no.
And even the original Joker, I liked that character. Well, not original, but the one from the '60s TV show.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, I wasn't that scared of him.
No.
He was kind of funny. It's hard to be scared of anybody in that
Yeah.
show anyway. But he had this kind of light
Yeah.
part to him, and I feel like Jack Nicholson kind of carried that, but he could totally become evil pretty quickly. He's like, oh, he's gonna
Yeah.
kill you, though he's laughing.
Right.
It's good you think about this scared of the Joker. I
Yeah.
don't know, it might be the few, but I remember when the Suicide Squad trailer came out.
Mhm.
A year later, it was like, I'm gonna hurt you really bad.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was pretty scary and pretty good.
Right.
I know a lot of people didn't like him, but I think
I
if
like
he was
the
given
villain
more
Joker.
scenes and he was the main villain of
They
Suicide
cut
Squad,
a lot of them out, but yeah.
like if he was the main villain, I think he would have done a good job. I think he could have done it. I think he just didn't have. They didn't give him enough.
Why wasn't he in a lot of it?
He was, but
They
they
cut
cut
out
out
a
a
lot.
lot.
They
Yeah.
reshot it
Yeah,
like 6 months away from release or something
it
like
kind
that.
of ruined it for him.
As
I
an
felt bad
actor,
for
though,
him.
he was doing a bunch of kind of wrong stuff, though, to the
Well,
other
he's
going over the top
actors.
with it, but hey, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he could have
No,
done a good job.
there's no
You don't
hey,
have
to-
I mean,
Yeah.
for
Well-
that.
well-
Okay, if you go method and you're doing stuff like that, there's a health risk right
Yeah.
up there,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
why method acting. I won't go there. Yeah.
I get you, though.
We
Yeah,
won't
I'm
go
with
that
you.
far. I could go into that, but we won't.
Yeah.
But all I'm
It's
saying
great, but it's
is,
not worth risking life.
I
for
think
money.
he.
Yeah.
I think if he had done, if that whole thing would have worked out with that movie,
Mhm.
I think that this movie would never have been made.
Right.
I think it would have been more with that. That's just my thing.
Suicide Squad was done darker because, or it was done darker, like they just said, like they cut out a lot of the stuff, or they reshot a lot of the stuff because Batman, when Batman and Superman came out, everything was dark and everything like that,
Yeah.
and a lot of fans didn't like it,
Right.
and so that's why they went back into and had to tweak
Yeah, I don't
around
think those
Suicide
movies.
Squad
I think
again,
them being
make it a
dark
little lighter.
wasn't my complaint. I think I
Right.
liked them actually being kind of
Yeah.
hard hitting. There was other reasons for it. I don't think it being dark was what ruined it.
For me,
Because
story structure.
Look at the
was
Dark Knight
problem.
trilogy. That's dark.
Can we
Yeah,
go back to
people-
Batman and Robin and how
people
amazing
love
that was? With
Ice
Jim
skating?
Carrey and
well,
what's her name?
Batman Forever or Batman
Uma
and Robin?
Thurman
Batman
as,
and Robin is two
Not Uma
different.
Thurman,
movies.
not that
I
one.
think so.
I like that one too though. But this, Shelley, what's her name? Silverstone.
Batman Forever's a classic.
Alicia Silverstone, I think.
That's Batman and Robin. Wait, you're
That
getting
was a
really
good
two.
one.
Batman
movies
Forever's
mixed up.
with Mr. Freeze, right?
No, that's Batman and Robin.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
Arnold
Mr. Freeze was
Schwarzenegger.
also in
Batman and
that.
Robin's
Great
got
casting.
Mr. Freeze, Uma Thurman.
I love it.
and
I watched
Batgirl.
that and laughed.
Okay, yeah.
Well, those movies are made
That
for
gr-
kids, obviously.
were
They weren't made for
Made
my
for toy-
generation.
Made for the toy.
They're like,
is what
Yeah,
to
they
me,
were.
That
like
was
the
my thing,
original
man.
Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah.
No, that was the good old days, okay? That was
And
some
I,
good
I can understand.
All the
Good
ice
old
puns,
days.
man. Like whoever wrote those deserves an Oscar.
Yeah, like I love the Burton ones, but when it got into the what's that director's name? Oh man, who did the last three?
Can anybody
Anyway,
remember the
What?
puns from them?
The one with like I hated the one with.
if you
what's
would have
his
asked me, I
face?
could
I
have told
know
you.
German last name,
The
but
one
anyway.
without
Ben Affleck. I did not like those.
Ben Affleck, no.
Yeah, I'm one of the few again. I like Ben Affleck. I think he was the best part about
They
that
didn't do
Batman
much
v
with him. I didn't have a
Superman.
problem with him
I thought he was
visually
pretty
or
fun.
whatever.
He
but
was
they
a
just
nice
didn't-
old gruddy
They didn't do much with him.
Batman.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean,
You know.
because I
I could
love,
take him, leave him.
So, yeah.
I
it
love
was
the
like-
scene though where he takes up the guys in the warehouse
Right.
and he's like brutally
In
fighting,
the
you know,
beginning.
in the
That's
warehouse.
choreography though. That's not.
I know. I'm just
Ben
saying though,
Affleck.
like it was badass. I was like, that's
Probably
kind
a
of
stand-in, right?
that's the kind of Batman movie I
Stuck
want,
on.
you know. And they stab him, you know, and he goes, he just stabs it back. Like, oh, yeah, that was
Yeah,
great.
that is impressive.
He's a
I will
violent
stick
person.
with you for that one, but I just think
Violent.
Ben Affleck is a mediocre at best actor. I
Yeah.
can never ever believe a performance that he does.
Right. And so, have you ever seen his brother act? He just looks like.
Casey Affleck?
Yeah. I'm just like I can't understand one word you're saying.
He's like when the sun and the weather changes.
Yeah, you can't understand
The
the
weather-
I don't mind Ben Affleck's acting. It's nothing I really think of
He's
like
fun.
I was
that.
like,
But you know,
dramas are okay.
I liked him in like Gone Girl, and
Jer-
you know when he sort of plays like
Jersey
Gone
Girl
Girl.
was really good.
Oh my
sort of like
God,
yeah,
a,
that's good.
Yeah.
A good movie.
straight
but-
up
Chasing Amy is good with him.
character. Yeah, that
He's
was
like
pretty good.
a comedy drama type person.
You know,
Like,
he's
he
good
doesn't
as
need to
you know that I haven't seen Argo, the one he directed.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
curious to
really
see
good.
that. I heard
It's
that's
good.
really good.
I will give him major respect for that because it's
Yeah,
so difficult to direct and also be.
Yeah.
He
The
directed a
star
gory
role.
movie recently.
For
what
sure.
was it? It was really gory.
Shoot, I can
It
barely
was
get
like
my
a
short
scary
film
movie.
I don't know. He was.
But then
Yeah,
he
he
also
wasn't in
made
it, but he
a lot of
directed
mistakes
it.
in
Oh,
Argo.
wow.
It was really gory though. I remember thinking that was Ben Affleck, him and Matt Dillon did it together.
Huh.
What was it? It was their movie.
Dylan or Damon?
Damon. I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
Good Will Hunting.
No, it's a
yeah.
scary.
Yeah, that was
movie.
gory though, wasn't it? Good
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
scary
for
movie.
sure.
It's very gory.
Sorry, I zoned out for a second. I was like,
What-
Matt
what-
Damon.
what did you think of
The
this trailer?
I always liked in the Dark Knight trilogy where he just showed up out of nowhere and there was no backstory. I felt more interested,
More
not
creepy.
knowing.
It's just creepy because yeah, he kept
It is.
changing it in them.
hmm It's like
Where are you
keep
from?
changing his backstory,
Mm-hmm.
so you're so invested.
Right.
For me, I would love it where it just starts at the crazy.
Right.
And then
Starts at
you can go back. I don't mind learning more, but the way it looks is a long, drawn out setup,
Mhm.
which I personally I don't think I can sit through for a Joker film. Again,
Right.
if it wasn't a Joker film,
If it was called
I'm
Crazy
sure.
Guy, I'd be like, oh, it looks pretty interesting. I'll
I'm
watch
it.
it.
sure
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would feel more invested. But
Yeah.
knowing that it's a Joker,
Yeah, it's got a title to live up to. It's just,
Who knows what's going to unfold in the actual movie? Maybe I'm sure that could be out, but
Yeah.
I could see like okay, right when he starts becoming a gangster and goes through it, but then end it where Batman shows up and just you know
They're not gonna
is
have
in his way.
Batman.
They're not.
Batman's not even in it. I don't even think it's in
Well,
Well,
this
King Phoenix
universe.
didn't show up
Yeah,
for
I
a
know.
Batman
I
type.
I think it's
situation.
supposed to be like in a real universe with no heroes and it's just a man.
Right. So it's an alternate universe.
I think
kind of
it's
thing.
yeah,
It
it's
feels like
connected
that,
for sure.
yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is
I
Batman
understand.
came out in
Because
2000.
they're doing Brightburn too, which is kind of
Oh, yeah,
an
he's
interesting
the actor.
take.
Ben
I've heard. I haven't seen a
No, he scared me new. They're
trailer
casting
for that,
somebody
but
else.
I don't know. I just
He quit though.
Let's
No,
make
it's
Superman
probably
evil.
interesting.
That is true. That
It's
would
also
be an
where he
evil,
quit.
hard force to
Yeah.
stop.
They're
But they have
looking for a new
Supermen
cast.
that are evil. But anyway.
2021.
But I mean, like I said, this movie looks. And again, this is a first trailer, teaser trailer, whatever you want to call it. Or although it's really the length of a regular trailer, but
Yeah.
it just that it just seems like I said a lot of stuff we've seen before,
Right.
and it doesn't look anything.
I liked her
differently
comment
than-
though. I think I would be interested in it if it just started off with him as the Joker. I think
Right.
I'd watch it then. I think we'd be like, yeah, let's see where he goes with this.
Right.
But
If
the
it
long
comes
process,
out, it is
I'm
like
not
that.
feeling
Because
it.
the Joker as a character can be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and
If
just
you
drop
got
him
the
in
right
his
person
thing. I'd be
playing,
like, oh,
yeah.
what's this one up to? But
Mhm.
the long process, I mean, I'll watch it eventually, but I'm not gonna sit through a theater
Right.
because I'll probably just
Yeah.
doze off.
I'd see ending it with him in Arkham, you know, or something. I don't know. But I mean, you know.
So
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
I say, so what if he
I'm
ends up
gonna,
with him
I
and
think I'm the
Argo?
only one that actually enjoyed that trailer. I think it was because it was a different take and it just seemed really artsy, and I
Right.
like
I mean, the trailer looks good.
I like the
I said.
actor.
Yeah,
Joaquin
I like
Phoenix,
Joaquin
yeah.
a lot.
I
I
think-
like him a lot.
And he's a character actor pretty
He
much.
is.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He's good at his characters.
that
He's creepy
is
looking.
really good for that.
It's creepy
Yeah.
looking, okay? Like the whole rib cage coming out, like that was creepy.
Right.
I think
I
what
don't know
gets
what
me
that was all about. I don't
with
know what that had to
these-
do with anything.
with these
though.
kinds of
You know, I don't
movies
know.
too is
The whole ribcage.
if this is a one-time movie, I'm pretty sure it's just a one-time thing.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
He's not going to pop up again in like
No.
another movie. So to
Right.
me, it just doesn't. I feel kind of like well, it's kind of pointless to me.
Should.
I feel like
Like,
they're
if
gonna get
he's
another
great,
Joker
then-
eventually,
Yeah.
who will be with Batman, and then I'll watch that. You know, like
never
there's no
know.
need for me to see this guy do his thing. You know, like I just.
Seems like with Marvel, they're better at kind of keeping.
There's a
things
reason
together.
to watch it.
Everything's kind of connected. DC tries,
Yeah.
but it kind of falls.
Because like
apart,
Red
too.
Skull, he disappeared. They bring him back.
Right.
You know, and you're like, oh yeah, here's this character again. You know, so it's. I feel like it's a one-time thing, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
I forget it eventually.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
another thing that
I don't know.
affects me.
Like y'all were just talking about the ribcage or the whole back thing, and his looked
Right.
like a monster.
His whole
What
dancing.
is that supposed to be? I don't know. I don't know.
I
What
think
it-
Showing his
I'm
twisted
sure
mind
he has
visually.
like 7 3-ring binders full of his characters in them.
Well, I think it
There's
was just
somewhere
like part
in
of
there.
They
the.
showed behind him and like his
Right.
back doing like this thing. I'm like, what is?
I feel like it was
looked
kind
like
of
an
trying
alien
too
or whatever
hard.
type thing.
I feel like it was trying too hard to be creepy. That
I'm gonna give him
Yeah.
some
But I gotta
credit
see
though.
it.
He probably lost a lot of weight to look that way.
Mhm.
So I'm
Oh
just
yeah,
gonna be like,
mad props to Joaquin.
I couldn't-
Phoenix.
I
Just
mean, I
whatever
couldn't-
whatever the result is, mad props.
yeah,
Right,
no, I
right.
get everybody's reasoning behind how they feel.
I
about
even
it,
get it on a monetary basis because Joker is a little bit fashionable, and so they're cashing in on that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's the thing about it, is what it all is a money grab.
Yeah, you know, and they're taking
calling
a
it
chance.
just Joker.
Yeah.
For recasting the Joker for whatever comes next, I feel like he should come straight out of the theater, like Broadway. Because, you know, in theater stage plays, you don't have the advantage of having different angles where you're hiding. You always have to be doing something to keep the
Right.
audience
yeah.
interested, and I feel like that's what the Joker is this very
I can see
visual.
that.
Right, I can see that.
He's very always theatrical, whatever, with his stuff or whatever. Yeah.
Right,
I
he's
could
always
even-
putting on a show.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
true
Yeah.
performance.
Mhm.
Right.
It'd be cool.
I get that.
I could go with
I
that.
like. I
That's
think with
cool.
me is like I like things that are like come from different point of views.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a one point of view type of person.
Right.
And so with me, I like to have all my options around me of
Right.
different things that I like this more, I like this less, and I think that with anything, which is why I hate just watching something also one time, is because I like to look at it in different ways.
Right.
This is just another way for me to look at his character. And
Sure.
I think that's what I appreciate about him.
Right.
If anything else, that's the
It
most.
can add to the composite idea of what the Joker is to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings us to talking about the whole villain thing. And I was
Yeah.
thinking earlier about villains, and one that I was thinking about, and you know, this is actually just how it goes because you guys are like really big into superheroes. My favorite superhero is Spider-Man,
Right.
literally hands down. I don't
Mhm.
like anybody else as much as
Sure.
I love him. But
Spider-Man's
I've
great.
noticed with Spider-Man, first of all, let me just say I hate the new Spider-Man. Do not like him. The kid,
Oh,
the
really?
kid, yeah,
Oh, okay.
don't like. Yeah, I think I'm the only person that doesn't like him.
That's all right.
You know why?
Why?
Okay, I don't hate him. That was really strong. I dislike him.
Just like,
You
you hate his
First of all, I
family.
like
You
his
hate his
voice.
family.
don't like the kid-like thing. I loved Peter Parker, the original one, but I also
Right.
did kind of like the newer one. with
You
the
don't.
he was a
but
kid,
his
though.
age,
He
you want
was
him
a
a little
kid.
older, huh?
I like the little
Yeah.
older kind, and I think I'm used
I get
to
you.
it.
Mhm.
But also going to the villain thing, I've noticed, and this is just very obvious. Every villain always is really nice, or is not really a villain. They're never just a villain.
Right.
And I think they
Something
kinda,
made them turn into that.
exactly.
They
like,
have layers,
like-
even sometimes.
Except
they
the
have
dark
a whole,
layers.
like
they're like Shrek.
Yeah.
Killmonger in
Yeah.
Thor: The
Black
Dark World.
Panther.
That's the one
Yeah.
villain where he had no motive. He was just, I'm evil.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. It's just that, well, all of them are, like, I never understood how the Goblin guy, what was he so mad about? I know they fired him. I know that was his company. But, like, it's really all you gotta be mad about? Is that you got fired for something you've been working on your whole life? We all have to go through that at some point. You know, I
Well-
think there was just a lot of things.
Well, he built that company.
I
He
know,
made
okay,
the
but
company,
again-
created the company, and they took him away.
It'd be like if you made a
I'm
film
not saying that you
studio
should become
and you're
a
making
villain
films,
because of
like,
that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
saying that.
yeah.
That's
You're not allowed to come
But
back.
That was literally the
Yeah.
only thing that happened to him, though. Literally the only thing.
He, yeah.
I
Talk
mean,
about-
rich.
Defoe.
I mean,
as,
if you
Green Goblin.
if you use
Yeah.
the whole just movie knowledge or movie of the knowledge of the movie of the stuff that we're seeing in front
I'm
of
not
us.
saying one thing
I'm not
can
talking
change
about
your
like
life.
comic book knowledge or anything. I'm talking about like meta
The
knowledge or
fight scene
whatever.
of
Yeah.
the end
But
of the
yeah,
movie.
or
Pretty good.
yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm gonna agree with you on that.
I
There
mean,
was not much-
that's really. I'm trying really hard to pull stuff out of my, but that's really. There's a million things I could probably talk about that was not that, but yeah,
You're right though. They all come from something.
all the Spider-Mans, mostly just Spider-Mans I can think of because I'm
There's
super
just some
knowledgeable of
scientist
it.
that gets wrecked in the lab, and then or they're
Yeah.
trying to save somebody and turn into a monster.
What
or,
kind
yeah.
of started the layers of the stuff to villains is, I mean, I'm not saying what started it, but part of it kind of really came out when Batman the Animated Series first appeared in 92, I think. That showed the Batman villains as more to their characters than what you felt sorry for the characters. Other than Joker just appeared out of
He was pretty
nowhere.
crazy all the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but most of the villains, they kind of showed a little bit of backstory to them.
Mr. Freeze was really good in that.
Yeah.
I love it's my
There's
favorite.
an
villain.
episode, Batman the Animated Series, if you can find it, watch that one episode at least. It's only 30 minutes. And it's called Heart of Ice. And basically shows the backstory of and at the end, he's a villain, but at the end you feel sorry for him or whatever.
Right.
You feel sorry that he's in his situation.
Mhm.
And each they showed layers to the villains in that animated series. So that kind of brought up a little bit of at least his villains anyway, that they kind of did a good job with. The thing about his villains, y'all talking about the 90s movies and everything like that, of Batman and all that stuff. That was the problem to me of the 90s movies about comic book movies anyway, is that they showed the villains were the stars. And I was, even though I like Batman '89, Jack Nicholson was the star of that movie. Michael Keaton was Batman was the secondary. I mean, Jack Nicholson was first in the credits. So, and then, so that's what I'm saying. So it's when it's like that, when it's the villains were in all those movies. The villains were the focus because the first two anyway. Because Tim Burton is a monster guy. He's a freak. He's the freak. All right. He loves freaks, and that's why Joker became the spotlight, and why Penguin became the spotlight in the next one.
Yeah.
Tim Burton did do that one, didn't he?
Yeah.
The
That's
first
why it
two.
was so creepy looking.
Yeah.
And so that's why it made him. He made Penguin into a major.
How did they get him to do Batman?
But,
That's so odd.
Oh, he did.
Although Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman.
I like Michael Keaton as Batman
Mine
too.
was George.
He's good as the Vulture.
Oh, George Clooney. Oh my God, he was like so. Oh my God.
You know why?
Why'd they give it
That's
bat
the first
nipples?
one I ever saw.
Yeah.
Hey, why
It's
did they
legit
give
the
him
first
bat
one I ever
nipples?
saw.
What was the point of that?
Huh?
What?
Bat nipples?
Batman.
What the hell's that?
Schumacher.
On his suit.
Sorry.
They had
Schumacher.
nipples.
Oh, I mean,
It looked
That
so
was gonna
funny.
be staying with me all day.
Is that the trailer? Can I watch that, please?
We'll watch it after the.
Can we?
We'll watch
Can I,
it.
can I get a gun right now and blow my head up before? No.
We'll
my
watch it
God,
when we're
I
done,
can't.
just
Okay.
so we
It's not bad.
can't have audio.
It was really creative to me, and I don't know.
Okay, when I go to see movies, especially in the 90s, because I was older, it was probably actually y'all's age at the time when I saw it, or maybe a little older.
I don't know how you couldn't turn in his Batman outfit. Here you go.
I usually, when I watch a movie at the theater, I'm usually like, when I watch a movie at the theater, I'm usually quiet. I like to watch movies, and if somebody's trying to, mess around, I get irritated by them. When I went to see Batman and Robin, I was like, oh my God. Oh, God. I mean, I was just like,
How old were you?
like I said, about y'all's age.
Really? Man, you must have been disappointed. Your heart must have. Were you excited when you first saw the trailers?
Yeah, actually, the trailers. I mean, because
Yeah.
Batman Forever, actually, I liked Batman Forever, even though it was a little lighter.
Yeah.
Touch.
Is it Batman Forever with them too?
No.
Which one
I
was
mean,
the Batman Forever?
What are you talking about with them two? What do you
The
mean
cast.
them two? No,
Chris
it's got
O'Donnell
Chris
and,
O'Donnell and Val Kilmer's Batman.
Oh, Val.
And what an age I live in now where my Batman is
Val.
like
Oh yeah.
gritty and your Batman is.
But
Hey, Batman.
Batman Forever.
Yeah.
so That's Batman Forever. That's
yeah,
Jim
I didn't
Carrey.
care for your
I didn't like Two-Face. I didn't
Is
like.
that the sequel? What's the order? I don't even know the order.
Okay, it's Batman 1989, then Batman Returns, which was Penguin and all that stuff, and then that was the third one.
Oh, so
And
there
then
were
the
4
last
of them.
one was Batman Forever. I mean, Batman and Robin. That's why they didn't make it. You notice they didn't make any Batman movies between that and Batman Begins because that
Yeah, they
Batman
had to
Robin
let that die out.
died.
Yeah,
The whole franchise.
Schumacher
Killed the
did
whole
both of
franchise.
those too. I get it though with the toys, because at that time there were tons of Batman toys with a lot of bright colors. You could get Batman with like 20 or 30 different outfits and stuff that comes with him. Those
That was
movies are
95.
filled with color.
Toyota.
Lots of colors and all that kind of stuff in these movies.
What year did Batman and Robin come out?
90 something,
90.
6.
We were just
Batman
on it.
Forever's 95.
Yeah, it came out.
No way. Did this
Batman
a
and
couple years
Robin is
later.
97,
97.
1 year later.
97.
And thinking about
I thought
Batman.
this was
Batman
like back
begin,
in way in the 80s.
No,
Batman.
Oh my god.
The 90s.
This 97. Well, wonder
Batman
they had to like go
and-
hush for Batman.
That hurt
Look
me,
at
I know it
Look at
hurt
the
him.
time Batman Begins came out. Batman Begins came out in what?
It feels so
In
old.
2004.
It looks
I'm
old.
gonna guess.
2005.
2005.
Oh, that's close.
8 years later, they didn't do anything with Batman.
Yeah,
right?
Batman
movie,
was
man.
poisonous for a while.
Exactly.
That movie really.
That's probably why that's all I know and like is because that's all I
Early impressions are really key. And
Yeah,
mean,
I mean,
experience.
I know I'm
For
doing
sure.
down in y'all's movie. I don't mean to be doing that.
No, it's
Y'all
we
get
all
down
know
any
that-
movie if I come up with it.
This
We're
is not
Generation
Batman.
X, so we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
love
see,
Christian Bale, but Michael Keaton's my favorite.
yeah,
Keaton's
I'm saying
awesome.
way. I'm saying way.
Was that
Uh,
2005?
Ba-
I was 7 years
Batman-
old when I saw that.
Batman it was Batman Returns is what kind of started this whole toy connected stuff
Mhm.
because Batman Returns came out or like kids parents took their kids to see it and they saw Penguin biting the nose off a guy
That was
and
scary.
bleeding
Yeah.
and
That was scary.
and him
It was a bit disturbing, that movie.
and him
He's already disturbing.
and
Yeah.
him trying to boink the Catwoman or whatever, trying to have sex with Catwoman. Or
Yeah.
whatever. This is
Trying to get
what
his
parents
penguin
took into the kids to see on the movie.
DeVito just made me feel
And
dirty.
see, Tim Burton could do that movie because he was successful with '89.
Right.
So he could do a lot of
He
he
went
had
dark
free reign.
anyway.
Yeah.
He could do free range. So that's
And he did.
and then
Catwoman.
so and see there was
Doing my super.
toys in McDonald's.
That's how his hands were.
Toys in the McDonald's like kids getting Happy Meals that were with this freakiest little penguin and
Are you
freaking all this other
serious?
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And that's why parents
I need to look
said
that up.
no, we're not doing that anymore. We're not taking our kids to the next Batman movie because of this. So that's why Batman Forever is really bright and it's got a lot of neon colors and
Batman
all,
Robin was just a big toy commercial.
basically.
Definitely
Oh,
was.
And that's why I'm saying so that's why you saw that.
90.
Really? I love the
Okay.
Gremlins.
But
Yeah.
They were so
I
good.
just saw this for the first time.
Are you serious?
You're talking about that. I thought made me think of, for whatever reason, my sentiments on Gremlins 2. That is not a kids movie
No.
at all.
It terrified me.
At all.
I was mad at my mom.
we'll see
when she
Gremlin.
The
but
first one, not so much, but it wasn't as
PG-13.
No, that was
heavy as this one.
Parents took them out of Gremlins too.
I
the first
know,
one.
yeah, the first one. Yeah, well, that's true. There were some dark things in that one,
Yeah.
but it was a little more acceptable.
Because this one was
Was
They
it
went-
Indiana
this one-
Jones rated PG?
this one Joe Dante, who was the
Where's the
director.
Lost Ark was.
This one Joe Dante was
bloodier
a
than-
joke. This
Right.
was trying to pick on that concept of the parents pulling out because there's actually
They
Right.
scenes
had
from that
Furbies.
movie.
They were Furbies.
There was that. Sorry, excuse me. There was actually scenes from that movie that you saw where parents were taking kids out of a movie theater or whatever,
Okay.
screaming at the
Right.
the thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So this
No,
was a
that's where they got
parody
it from.
from that. It was basically a parody. He was mocking.
But they didn't tell the public
Yeah.
that this is a parody and
No.
it's mocking you.
Did you
They
watch
came
this
in-
one or the first one?
This one
I've seen
died
the
in
first
theaters.
one back in the day. This one I saw for the first time over the weekend.
I have actually never seen this one. And
I-
I was
and I was
I
like-
just saw it in more recent years or
And
whatever.
here's the
I
deal: the
haven't
Gremlins look awesome. They put a lot of money.
Mm.
I could see it costing 3 or 4 more times than what the original one cost.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to watch
As far
this
as
then.
cost, like they put there's Gremlins everywhere. They're all really well done,
I
and
didn't
that
see
kind of
them.
stuff.
The older
This
ones
is-
were like really green and grimy.
They are, but they look
They're,
Think about it, if
they're
they-
amazing.
Yeah,
I
they're
hate it when
really
they
good at
if
this.
they remake Gremlins or whatever, it's going to be all CGI
Yeah.
stuff.
Cannot
It's gonna be
happen.
scary.
I refuse to let
Yeah,
that
that wouldn't
happen
work.
by sheer
There's
force
great pictures
will.
of what
Protest outside of the theater,
Yeah,
the
I
studios.
will have
But it's
a
funny.
time.
They take the main character from the first one. They make him a complete, like, I'll just say it, his character's a douchebag in this one. Like, he's not a good guy.
Really?
The
He
main
was
guy
so
in it.
sweet in the
Gizmo?
first one.
No, not
Oh.
Gizmo's awesome. Like
Gizmo's
Zach
still in
Galligan,
it?
like Billy. Billy in this, he's not really that
It's
great
been a
of
while,
a
since
person.
I've seen it. Maybe I'm
He's just like a
So wait,
schmuck
why?
that like cheats on his girlfriend.
Oh, Does
yeah,
he still
just
own
rewatch it, rewatch it.
Does he still own Gizmo or whatever his name is?
Gizmo comes back into their hands, but most of the time he's not around. You really, most of the movie
Yeah,
you're
it's
dealing
about
with Gizmo
the
and the
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Gizmo's the only one that doesn't turn
Yeah,
into
you
a
don't
gremlin,
really
right?
have Zach Galligan in
Yeah, there's not a lot of.
much.
Yeah, it's mostly about the.
You know, and the Zach Galligan story's like, well, that sucks. You know.
That
Because
was
they-
kind of that way in
because
the
they-
first one too.
Because they made
Was
a
he?
they made
Oh,
a
yeah.
gremlin into a smart gremlin
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
type
He
thing
was
with a
pretty
brain,
useless.
so he
Yeah.
could talk regularly and all that other stuff. So he was the main focus. Oh, he was one of the main focuses of the
Mhm.
movie. So yeah, there wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of human
Right.
situations or whatever within here.
There's
as much
great
as
shots
they
of
were.
Gizmo like running, full body shots of his little feet going, and he's going down the hallway. It's great. You
They're so cute.
But
know.
I don't remember that him cheating on his girlfriend though.
Not really cheating, but he went out with his boss, and it's all kind of really weird, and what he
'Cause-
said about
Because
it.
they
and
were
stuff.
they were not married yet. I think they were living together in New York. or
Yeah,
whatever, I
yeah,
think.
yeah.
Okay.
But it was just kind of strange.
I'm
Why
trying to
did they
remember.
this
It's
way
been a
with
couple
him?
few years since I've seen it.
Everything they did with him was like not heroic.
Can we also talk about one more thing real quick?
Not that he was a hero in the first one.
About how we know it's a villain
Right.
and we're already rooting for the villain
Right.
because we love the villain.
Yeah.
And I love, and I sound corny, and don't say anything, Chucky.
Oh, Chucky, yeah.
I love Chucky.
Well, here's the deal. Horror movies are about the villains,
You
and
wanna
I
see
love
them
horror
commit murder.
movies. I love monsters. I love it. If I see Friday the 13th, who am I going to see? The little kids that get killed? No.
No.
I want to see Jason Voorhees and what he
Exactly.
does next.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And
No,
we're
I
talking
agree.
about Chucky, same kind of thing. Chucky's funny as hell, and
He is.
it's. I don't get scared by those movies at all. To me,
No.
they're just comedy with blood. you know?
When I was a child, yeah, but
yeah,
no.
yeah.
But I just find something so lovable about him. Like I just love Chucky. Like I
Gotcha.
have him and his bride. in
Right.
my room.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just care about them so much.
And they're hugely. Chucky's still hugely popular.
Cool.
A lot of those horror films. Benefit of horror films, not all of them, or generally you can do them cheaper.
Yeah.
Generally, they will sell. And if you hit franchise with it,
Did
you
they
make a lot of money.
Didn't they
Yeah.
make a new one recently?
Yeah.
A cult of Chucky.
There was a cult, and there's one that's coming out.
Yeah.
Was
I'm
it good?
excited. I haven't seen it yet. It's not out.
Mm.
The cult was okay. I mean, for the fact that it was a remake of 1000.
And before that, it was Bride of Chucky, right?
Mm,
Or was there one before? I don't know. Yeah.
I've never
It's
Yeah.
a
seen one,
bunch.
so
Yeah.
And there was
should
like
probably
a few
watch
of them.
yeah, there was another one actually that came out that actually did suck.
Because there were like 3 or 4 regular Child's Play movies. Child's Play 2.
That's what they're coming out with, a newer version of
Right.
Child's Play.
this
Right.
was originally
Yeah,
called.
there's nothing to do
Yeah.
with the cult
Yeah.
thing, but they had the last one that came out. Jennifer Tilly was in it,
Mhm.
who I love.
I saw them where they
Right.
got the idea. I think it was the director or whoever thought of it first. Had a skateboard
Right.
and had that voodoo doll.
Right.
And would do the shots like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it came from. And also hearing him, he said he purposely ends it with him burning the doll and like destroying it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Chucky.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So they wouldn't make
That happens
sequels.
in a bunch of the movies, and guess what?
Like it was
He's
funny. He
back
said I purposely
every time.
put everything.
Yeah.
So they
And
couldn't
one
bring it
of them,
back.
They did him. They killed
then he
him
goes
in the doll factory, and of course his particles ended up back into the stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's-
Yeah, well, it was
it's funny
his
hearing
soul.
Yeah.
You can't kill the soul, and that's
Just
the thing
hearing
with
the
so many
writer, he was like,
dolls.
I
You
burnt
can
it,
try your
shredded it,
hardest.
so they
Yeah.
wouldn't bring him back. And then they bring him back in all these
I
sequels.
heard,
Oh,
I heard
yeah.
about the new Chucky one coming out. Child's Play coming out is a it's instead of like a spirit in the doll, it's supposed to be like an AI gone mad or whatever type thing. Now I don't know. That's what I've heard.
They
That kind of
better not.
cheapens the whole thing, doesn't it?
It
I'm
does.
just saying.
Have you
Because
seen
there's
where
a few
he's,
people
what he was
that are- I'm
based
just
off
saying
though?
that. I mean,
The
you
real
can
life?
look it up and maybe.
Oh
see it.
yeah, My Buddy, man.
Is it the Tim the doll
No, it's called My Buddy.
or My Buddy?
Those
Oh, I was about to say what?
The little
I'll
sailor.
never forget
You
those
do?
commercials.
Yeah.
My Buddy. I didn't have a My Buddy. I didn't like,
No,
It's like having a
there was
doll.
inspiration.
I had action figures, not dolls.
Have you heard
okay?
about the real
Yes,
demonic,
exactly.
the
What's
real
that?
demonic doll?
Uh,
It's real. It's like
Oh, well,
Tammy
that's
Annabelle.
what Annabelle's based off of.
Yeah, it's a like
Is that
a
what she's
rag
about?
doll.
Have you seen it though? The real.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
creepy.
It's creepy.
Did
It's
you hear
got
the
red
story
hair.
about it? Oh,
Oh yeah.
Have you ever watched any?
But
Annabelles?
Yeah.
Chucky's based off of the My Buddy dolls. I hear the song in my head for the commercials. They're
My
about this
Buddy.
tall in a box, just
Oh.
like Chucky, and
Look up the
they
commercial
would
on
talk
YouTube.
and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah, I told my mom no. It's fake.
that real thing is in
Yeah.
that museum,
Oh yeah.
and I'm just thinking, oh, dude, when the world ends, if all those things get out,
Yeah. Well, we'll be dead.
It would be like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
That movie's
actually,
insane.
that'd make a cool movie, wouldn't it?
I hate the fact that you brought up My Buddy because that song was really on my mind
I know,
right
I
now. I mean,
know.
like,
They had a girl doll too. I forgot.
Kid Sister.
Oh.
Yeah, Kid Sister. That's
Instead-
right.
instead
Kid
of calling
Sister.
Kids- yeah, they did the same thing, but with
Same
Kid
song.
You have a Chucky, don't you?
I have a Chucky and I bought his bride about 2 months
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
That
Oh,
freaked me out.
so he's
Yeah.
not lonely
It's Chucky,
anymore. So you
I
won't
didn't
go
want to be
around
lonely.
killing because he's too busy with his
Exactly.
I think dolls
He's
are
got-
definitely
he's got
villains.
tied down.
Sweating problems and everything.
Have you heard of Teddy Ruxpin? What
Yes.
happened with Teddy Ruxpin's a lot was people were getting creeped out because you could even pull the batteries and the thing would still
Oh, no.
have some charge in it and every once in a while do something, you know. It was weirding out people, you know. Had some friends back in the day, of course, the house happened to be maybe haunted and stuff like that, and
Well, that might be.
they were dumb, it might be, you know, it's speculation. But I've heard things there, and it's a creepy place. It definitely is a creepy place, and I felt weird, but I didn't say anything.
I didn't see it.
But the stories I heard were funny. Of course, it involved like a Ouija board. I'm kind of like very skeptical about that stuff, but I think it depends on your mind. You know, if you're skeptical and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
then it's not gonna do nothing to you.
Like when I went to
Yeah.
that haunted house that we went to do the movie,
Mhm.
and I was alone up there filming. I
Yeah.
kid you not. I still feel it thinking about it in my soul.
Oh yeah.
I was like, there is something in here with me, and I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
doing this.
There's the old dead thing that lived to help build the place, who's just staring at you from the corner.
Right.
You know? Oh my God! This is my house.
I'm like,
Get out of
it's-
my house, you damn kid. You know.
I know that kind of makes me
Oh.
think of freaking like some Insidious / Conjuring thing.
Right.
You know, it's like really old and like dead looking.
I
Show
wonder
in the corner.
if, because horror is so popular, if that answers maybe part of the question of the dilemma we run in with villains and comic book movies becoming good guys all of a sudden.
Yeah, we
You
need
know,
some.
I
good
wonder if
world.
that's part of the
We think
of
about
what happens.
We
you
think
know?
about horror anyway. Horror from the very beginning, they had, Dracula.
Yeah,
The movie was Dracula.
people like Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
it's about the monster.
Mummy. All those
Yeah, yeah.
old Universal movies.
And the villain is in the
All
center as the
yeah,
main
exactly.
icon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
hated
you wonder
the
if that
remake.
kind of thinking drifted on into
Did you
other
see it?
genres such as
Yeah.
superhero movies and,
Yeah.
Please watch it.
and things. Yeah.
But
Come
I
back to
remember
it.
there was actually a Joker comic book in like the 70s,
Right.
which
Huh.
I don't know how many issues there were, but
Wow.
I remember seeing
I really
covers
like
of it or
the
whatever.
Killing Joke.
It says the Joker
The
on it or
Killing
whatever.
Right.
That was a good one.
The Killing Joke. That
Where
was
it
a
ends
later
and you don't
one,
know if he
yeah.
kills them or if he's just, I kind of liked
Yeah.
it. They're both laughing. It was like, ooh.
Just
Yeah, I
like
hadn't
that.
read that one. Dark Knight actually was kind of an interesting comic.
The Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, it was
But-
definitely showing Batman in more
But see,
harder.
he
kind
was
of,
he was
badass.
probably killing people in that, but there
Yeah.
again, who
Bad
were they?
guys.
They were
Bad
bad
guys.
guys.
They were
He
bad
was not
guys.
going
Yeah,
jumping
yeah.
into
Did you all see
a
the
daycare and
But you always
beating up
wonder
babies.
about
You know,
the
He's
bad
just like-
guys when the costumes are going through. It's like, well, really, that's just Charlie that has a hard time, and this is the best gig he can get.
Right.
And is it? He hasn't really hurt anybody, and he's cowered away
Again.
from like actually killing people in this.
Again,
But now he dead. Did he really deserve to die?
but then again, I go with the argument, the Kevin Smith argument in Clerks,
Right.
is that when you're working if you're a mafia, even if you're a builder, if you're working for a mafia
Yeah,
situation,
You're attached to.
you're attached to them.
Yes, I know.
You've
I
got,
know. I know that's a very black and white way to look at it. Yeah.
I would say when I saw that movie, the Superman versus Batman movie, and remember he's in the car
Mm-hmm.
and just straight up shoots and blows up the car,
All right.
and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, even
So Batman's not shooting people.
in Batman Returns, Michael Keaton's Batman actually, it was one scene where he's like taking down the circus gang or whatever type
Yeah.
thing, and he goes into his Batmobile and he fires off his big engine in the back or whatever,
Yeah.
and sets one of them on fire.
Oh, he did.
So he was pretty vicious in that one too.
That was a
Yeah,
good scene too,
yeah,
though, with the
yeah.
Batmobile.
And which one?
The original-
Batman v
the-
Superman.
Oh yeah,
That was the original.
That Batmobile was so much cooler than the
that
other.
wasn't.
It's very hard for me to say that because they're both cool.
They're trying to copy it, make it look a little different. With
But
these
that felt more like a
progressive
Batmobile
movies. Yeah.
than the Dark Knight one.
Oh, yeah.
But that was more realistic. But man, that was
In Dark
a
Knight,
badass
it was
car.
just a military vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But damn, that was cool.
Yeah.
He had the grapple hook to the thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was long and had sort of the fins and the wings, kind of like
That
the
movie
old
had some
car.
good moments, though, man.
Mhm,
I can't lie.
for sure.
Was another movie that had a villain that started off as like evil as hell, but could have turned.
The one that comes to me like that is now like a hero is Loki.
Oh yeah,
That's a
it.
big one. And the reason he got that far
Mhm.
was because of the fan base.
Right.
The fans
Yeah.
were like, we love him. And
That
that's why they
Hiddleston,
kept.
that
He wasn't
actor.
even supposed to be in that many movies.
Right.
And the funny thing is too, he auditioned to be Thor.
Right.
You can go back and see the whole clip of him with the
Sure.
wig. It's hilarious. And they were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the thing with fans. It's like, oh, if you want it, then
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I like him as a character. I mean, again, I'll fight that too, because he's supposed to be actually have a mini series on that Disney
Yeah, I saw that.
streaming service or whatever when it comes out. He's supposed to have his own series.
Is it before or do you think after?
Anyway, I'm sorry, but
That's
it's just,
another
I'm
theory.
sorry, just
No, you don't have to apologize at all. This is great. It's good for the show.
I mean, there again, what are they going to do with him in that show? I mean, like I said, he's only.
Yeah.
It doesn't interest
Listen,
me.
that's the thing about it. Sometimes villains can be just. Well, I mean, I don't think he's number one note, but I mean, villains can be one note. I gotta take over the world. I gotta do this, or I gotta do that, or whatever.
Like Ultron.
Wherever their goal
Right.
is.
Have you ever watched Meet the Robinsons?
Ah, Michael Egubian.
Yes.
I have a
Wait.
picture actually from when I was a baby, and
Uh-huh.
not a baby, like 4, and the way I look is exactly like little baby Goob. I need to
Those-
show it to you sometime, but
you're
it's
gonna have to.
exactly like if you put the screens together, it's like
Well-
they based him off of you.
Well, it's super sad. Like, have you ever seen it?
Mm.
You ever seen it?
What is it?
Meet the Robinsons?
No.
I
That's
saw it.
one of
You saw it?
the
Okay, so we've
best.
seen it, so I can talk to
Sam.
you. So, okay, well, either way,
I know of it.
It's a cartoon, but it's really good because like the guy that's the villain, he was actually like the good guy. Didn't he like invent something? He didn't invent anything, but what happened
Well, because of
He was his
Lewis,
roommate.
he like lost out
on having a family?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he became a villain. And I think it's like, it's like also like that. It can go backwards, like where you're, a good person, but then something really like we were talking about the Joker earlier, happens to you, and then you're just like a total asshole.
But
Cartoons.
Dolores was bad though.
Cartoons kind of hit into this
They
because
do.
you're talking about that. It automatically makes me think of what the Minions movie. What is that based off of? What are those? They got the Minions in
Despicable
them.
Me.
Yeah,
Despicable Me.
Yeah.
Despicable Me.
First movie
He's a
was
villain.
fantastic.
But yeah, the first one's great, but it's a story about a villain who's not so much of a villain.
Yeah.
Well, you could also
He
go with
tries.
Megamind there.
Yeah,
I love Mega Mind.
Was the third one any good? The second one was
I
bad.
don't- I'm fine with just about all of them.
I
Honestly.
hate when kids' movies happen like that. They lose that
Edge.
edge and that good humor where it's
Right.
brilliant, and then they
Lilo
go
and Stitch.
stupid.
Right.
'Cause the first movie is great. You can watch it. I could watch it a million times. It makes
Right.
me laugh. With the villain and everything. Then the second one, it just felt dumbedified.
Right. Huh.
Like I was like an idiot.
That's
But
the word.
I
like,
didn't-
do
I
they do
saw
that
it.
for kids? Like, do they just realize, oh, we can milk this, so we don't have to try as hard, and they just kind of,
Use that dumb
Any
stuff.
kind of reason. I'm not sure.
I just
Maybe
always
they
wanted
actually thought it was great.
no.
You know.
I just,
And
you
sometimes.
can definitely watch it back to back. You can definitely tell.
Sometimes things work out on paper, but they don't work out in
True.
reality.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. Like when I saw Gremlins 2, I'm like, how did this even get made? How did they? I mean, and this was lots of money.
I don't know. I know Spielberg produced the first one. I'm not sure if he produced the second one or
Yeah, I
not.
don't know.
That might be part of it if he did.
Yeah, it was,
But
I
it
mean,
was
Johnson-
far less.
The first one was
Spielberg-y.
successful though. I
Yeah,
mean,
very successful. Second one,
yeah.
tanked.
Mhm.
And I'm sure some people lost a bunch of money on that because there's a lot of money in it. I mean, the creatures are great, like all puppets.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's a room of 200 or 300 of them.
There's a couple of them that were generated.
In that one,
Yeah, there was the one.
maybe the one with the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
And
bit of that.
and the
Yeah.
spider one might have some of it
Spider
done.
one? Yeah. There's
Yeah, it
one
was like a
that,
huge spider gremlin
one.
or whatever. He has like a
I've gotta watch these
It's
movies.
all a
Hey,
puppet too.
he has a
but
gremlin
yeah,
like
yeah,
head, you know, kind of like a little bit of body to him, but then the rest of
Yeah.
it's like a huge spider.
Yeah. Gizmo's really the only hero in the movie.
I love Gizmo.
It's a trip movie or whatever.
It is.
And
Like
the
I said,
mom.
it-
The mom in the
The-
first
yeah,
movie.
The moms are great. in the
That was
first movie.
insane when they
Yeah.
started all turning into the water hit them all, and they
Oh,
were just
yeah.
everywhere. That was crazy.
There's tons of that in this
Mhm.
right from the beginning.
And then the little,
Basically.
Like I said, maybe
skeleton.
too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
That's why I think it may be too much. You know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
They cut
that.
all the
Yeah. But the first one it was really good. I liked. What was I gonna say? But I don't know where I was going with that. But anyway, never mind. Let's,
Villains.
yes.
So I think things are cyclical, though. I think we'll go back maybe to a trend where the bad guys are going to be more bad. I think it's a big problem in the Star Wars movies. There's no one that's really that terrible in the new movies.
They're not
I
threatening
think.
at all.
None of them.
Slapstick.
The New Order, they're a
They
joke.
can't
They
just
trip over each other.
They
It's
killed
like,
the one guy that was threatening.
I know, real quickly. It's like, well, he did. It's like, what?
Like, I really thought, like, was her name Phasma?
Yeah.
I thought when I saw the trailers, I was like, oh.
And they cut out the best part of the fight where she,
Yeah, I
dies.
saw that. I was like,
The deleted scene's great. And the scene in the movie's like, wah, wah, you know.
I really wish they didn't show Kylo's face till like the last movie too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when those trailers came out, and I just heard that
they
massive
just
voice. I was
because
like,
he's not.
oh, this is really cool. It's gonna be threatening, you know. But
Yeah, he's.
But he
not
took
a
his
bad guy.
mask off like 2 minutes into the movie, and I'm like,
yeah. Why do you need it? There's
Uh,
no reason for him to have it too. Which
Entrance
is
was
which one is
great.
this?
Mhm.
Star Wars, the new one.
yeah.
So
When
what
the
after
first
that?
few minutes when he had the mask,
yeah,
like he
Last
when
Jedi.
he blocked that,
Epic.
he blocked that laser,
yeah.
laser,
Yeah,
laser in the
he was-
air or whatever type thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
he was
beginning of
badass.
that?
He was bad.
That was cool.
If
I
they
was like,
kept-
Oh
if
my
they kept the
God.
voice and have his helmet pop off some, but do it like they did Vader. You don't see his face.
you just see his eyes.
It's over his
but
shoulder,
the eyes would tell
or
the story.
obscured, or
Yeah.
a shadow.
Right.
And give her a reason why he has it too.
Right.
There was no reason for it.
Right.
He was
Other
just
than
wanting to be
being-
like Vader, which
yeah.
makes you kind of like
He's
weak.
a Vader
I don't want to be like
fanboy.
Vader.
Yeah.
You know?
He's a Vader fanboy.
Yeah.
It's
Like
a
in Star Wars
fanboy.
time.
That's exactly what it is.
He goes to Vader conventions.
That's
and-
all over when
That's
you
what
get
it
to
is.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
He goes to Vader
Did you hear what he
conventions.
I'll
said?
see you.
I'll see you guys.
He had a good point. He said he's pretty much a fanboy of Vader.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
he
He's
goes
one
to
of those
Vader
lonely people.
conventions and
You tell him he's not Vader, he's gonna be like, but I have a lightsaber with 2 extra things that burn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fear
That's
me.
great.
It's
Did you
just
watch
like
that video that came out when Force Awakens first?
Oh, where it
where
did
it's
all of
like
them?
the whole physics
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the little sword lightsaber.
Like, wait, when they made fun of where they extended it,
Yeah.
where it was like a
I
Christmas
mean,
tree
it's
one.
like,
He was
yes,
like,
it does make sense.
yeah.
It was like a
Oh,
tennis.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
There was
yeah,
a tennis
that
one, you know,
Sure.
and he kept changing it.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
And the guy was like,
I'm just.
But they missed an opportunity to make
I
these
mean,
people bad. Like
yeah.
that's what I want. They
I mean,
need that.
I mean,
Aggravates
if
me.
the actor looked threatening, that's the thing about it. Like, I'm not, you know, it wouldn't be Jack Nicholson, but Jack Nicholson looks psycho whether he's being Jack Nicholson
Yeah.
or he's, you know.
Even when he's being
Especially
friendly, it's like
now.
what are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
yeah, he's sitting in a Laker game and you're like, ooh, you know, that kind of thing. But you know, it's just like, you know, it's just like, you know, he looks like I said, an actor that looked like that, threatening, you know, whether he was,
Right.
you know, sitting and eating
Sure.
ice cream or you know, killing somebody or
You're saying
whatever.
the guy who's playing Kylo is a
Adam
Threatening
Driver.
looking.
I think-
I'm not saying
Right.
he's a bad actor.
I love
or
him.
anything
He's a
like
good
that.
actor, but I think they should have approached it with an older guy.
right,
Like, not a young boy, like an older son.
right,
And this guy's been through a lot, and you don't know what he's been through. You
right.
know,
Someone
more
maybe in
beat
their
up.
early 30s
That's
or something.
30s.
Like that.
That's
Yeah.
something more aggressive.
That's the thing about it too.
Yeah.
He doesn't look grizzled. He doesn't look like he looks like he just came out like he was spoiled.
He looks like
like
a
he was
spoiled
spoiled
kid.
child his whole
That's what
life.
it
and
seems like.
everything.
He's a spoiled child, and it's
And
like
his
you know,
father bought his uniform for him. You know what I mean? He's
and
just
what
like,
doesn't help is you know,
Yeah.
what was helping me a little bit until Last Jedi, you know, is that backstory. I was like, oh, what did he go through?
Right.
And Last Jedi, you know, it was so
It-
bad. He was.
I mean, Han Solo looked more grizzled and had some age in it. Like,
For real,
like
man.
he's more scary than he could be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like you know, it's just like I wouldn't want Han Solo to come up to me like, you know, I mean, he was being a father to him or whatever type thing, and he looked more threatening than Kylo
It's very
did.
disappointing.
And there again, they may have wanted to do that differently. Maybe they wanted to do that. Maybe they wanted the person in black to be completely different than Vader, because like I said,
Right.
Vader was very threatening in the New Hope from the very beginning,
You just-
Right.
and they wanted to do the opposite
You're like,
direction.
oh,
way,
yeah.
but
It's like,
it's
he's bad.
He's definitely bad.
yeah. And so it just they wanted to do the opposite. They wanted to do
Right.
a
I saw
turn,
a-
but it just
I
it
saw a
failed.
great meme on that when Vader's choking the rebel.
Right.
He has a meme and the rebel goes, Vader's like, any last words? And he goes, I have the high ground, because he's all the way up.
Right,
And Vader
that's
goes,
awesome.
no! That's one of the best
I like
memes
that.
ever.
I like
That'd be
that.
good.
I like that. That's a good. That's a
I
good
think in a broad way, talking about villains and heroes, I definitely think it takes a really dark villain to make a hero shine,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. You know, that
I agree.
villain, if he's got a lame hero, he's got to deal with. Well, what's the
That's
point?
why I think, I'm sorry I always go to Marvel, but Thanos, anytime
Right.
he's in the scene, I feel like nobody's safe.
No,
I'm like, anyone could die.
right.
Well, see,
He's
Thanos.
threatening. He holds
Threatening.
him.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, this audience doesn't know much about
Right.
Thanos. I mean, even if I had never picked up a comic book before, I
Mhm.
never read anything
Well,
about
you're
him, he looks threatening.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, holy cow.
Right.
Whether he was like, he could be come out and smiling and say, "Hey, here's some ice cream."
Like,
here's some this.
it wouldn't- it wouldn't-
But he still would be
I
threatening
was
looking.
watching
Yeah.
a lot of the trailers and stuff, and I was just thinking how it might go down.
Right.
And I think they might try to go fight Thanos, like at the start, like they're
Right.
waiting because Captain Marvel comes and she's like, "We have me now. Let's go do it." It wouldn't surprise me if they go and he kills her right there and then.
Right.
Of course she'll come back, but like,
Right.
imagine that. I don't
Well,
even.
see,
I could see it happening just because
I've-
how threatening he is.
I've heard some rumors though. I've heard some rumors.
Mhm.
Now this is all. I
Yeah,
don't
go
know. I don't know for sure. But they did extra. Like they had shot extra scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Some scenes of her being in Endgame, in comparison to some other scenes they have her in
Yeah.
Endgame. That if the movie Captain Marvel didn't do well, or like maybe
Yeah.
or not maybe not critically, or people didn't seem to like her character, or didn't really, that she was really going to be more main
Yeah.
stage in the Endgame. But then they shot scenes that they wanted her put to more of a side,
Side, yeah.
that they could do that too. So
see
that's
that.
I've heard. Now that's all rumor or whatever type thing.
Did you see the new trailer that came out? Shows Thanos.
I heard it
It's just
on
a
a
minute.
podcast. I
It's
did.
quick.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I
spoil
don't.
anything.
I'm trying not to.
New York Minute.
I'm trying.
But
to
oh,
keep
dude, when you
that.
hear his voice
I've
though,
heard his
Thanos,
vo-
you're
I've
like,
heard his voice, so I'm like,
"Ooh."
okay, so he's in it or whatever.
It's very good.
So,
But that's a threatening villain. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I'm trying to.
I'm probably gonna go to this movie
Spoilers.
feeling sick
Right.
because I'm gonna be like, nobody's safe. I'm just gonna be like,
Yeah. I rarely go to the theater, but I probably will climb out of my cave.
Cave to go see it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to go see Shazam this weekend, but it's
I heard so
not
many
this
good
weekend,
things
but
about it.
Huh.
sometime comes out Friday.
I just think
I don't feel like you can go wrong with Zachary Levi. I
Right.
mean
He's
that
funny.
could be
He's
because
funny.
I've been following him since he made it big with Chuck.
Yeah.
Right.
But I expect to go in and I don't expect to leave feeling like
I laughed.
didn't-
I actually did laugh out loud. They did a quick ad where it was like, where he's like, "I'd like to buy your alcohol" or whatever, and she's like,
Sign us
"Okay,"
beer,
and then it
please.
cuts to him going because it's terrible. But it made me laugh. It was pretty good.
I like the picture of him like he's gonna go over the building and he just hits the window. I mean, you know, it
yeah.
doesn't tell me anything
Stuff
about the
like
story. It
that.
just means okay, this is gonna be kind of comedy.
Yeah.
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 I mean that's Shazam. He's not supposed to be a grizzled,
Right.
dark character or whatever type
Right.
thing.
16-year-old.
And but they've made Billy even younger at some incarnations of Shazam, where they made even Billy even younger than 16
Right.
or
So it's a
whatever.
kid that becomes that hero.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes he's been like 12 or younger
Right.
or whatever. Sometimes even
Right.
younger or whatever. But it's never been a grizzled
Right.
story or whatever type thing. So I'm not expecting. He better be dark. I want to see dark.
It's
Shazam.
dark
yeah,
Shazam.
no, probably
It's
really-
He better be-
real good.
He better be in the
Martha!
corner. He better be in the corner. You know, in
With the cape.
Yes.
It
And,
should just be like Batman, yeah.
Just
you
yelling
better be
Martha.
that, or I'm out. I'm at the door.
Yeah, you his foster mom's name.
Is your name Martha?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
man.
His,
No,
his
man.
mother's not one. His mother should better be named Martha, or I'm out the door.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But, but that it looks fun. It looks fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, hopefully we'll see better villains, I think, is kind of what I'm coming up with in the future.
That's the thing about a lot of people put down, like we were talking about MCU villains. They put down the villains. I don't have a problem with the villains
I don't either.
because like I just said earlier,
most of them are pretty good.
in the '90s
bad.
when all those movies were out, the villains were the main characters of the movie.
Right.
The hero was the secondary. I didn't like that because the hero is supposed to be the name of the hero is on the marquee.
Should be like,
Batman.
Iron Man's such a good movie because it barely focuses on the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's just there to
the
be
funny
bad.
thing about it is that villain is
And he's
more
good.
that why I liked Iron Man, the first Iron Man so much is that villain is that character the whole concept of the villain is almost verbatim from the comic books. That's how
Right.
he did build a big armor whatever to take on Iron Man. He called himself Ironmonger or whatever, but they didn't show that in the movie. But not that I was expecting that. But I mean it's just that but that's kind of basically what is from the comic books, but verbatim with that. And a lot of people say, well, he was just a businessman, and we don't like him. I'm like, that's what his character was. That's like a bad guy was, and that's how MC was going to look at it. Because Kevin Feige even said he was going to make the villains a lower end because the hero was going to
Yeah, it's
be
all about the
on
heroes.
top.
Right.
Exactly.
You want them to shine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what his whole concept of the MCU was going to be. Was
Right.
the heroes were going to shine, villains were going to be secondary.
Right.
Even with Thanos, he doesn't really show any hero-ish. He's really just more. They just show more like threatening.
Right.
Like they're not trying to make him likable.
No.
They're just trying to
And
make him
he's-
scary.
They have made
threatening.
him like seemingly undefeatable.
Exactly.
How do you deal with this thing?
So when you go in this movie, you're like, I have no idea how it's gonna go down.
So they did right, I think, by Thanos.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Even though they give you you can almost feel sorry for him, or not feel sorry for him, but you can see.
You see a point of view.
A little bit of point of view.
Yeah.
It's clear because you want an emotional pull. You want
Right.
layers in all of your characters.
Yeah.
Right. He almost becomes the weather in a certain kind of way, in that, like, okay, a storm's coming called Thanos. You can't really do anything about it because it's coming whether
Mhm.
or not. You
Right.
know.
You just
A
gotta
little
hold
bit of
your
that, but it
ground.
has more personality. Like they also refer to like the walkers in The Walking Dead as weather. It's just
Yeah,
kind
I
of going
can see that.
on, but
Now Negan is he was a good threatening villain as well
Right.
in the first when they first introduced him.
sure.
I was
Very
actually going to
scary.
bring Walking Dead up, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure y'all had still watching it, so I didn't want to
Stopped
bring
at
it.
season 8,
Right.
and that was horrible. It was like a chore.
Yeah.
I was like-
I was quitting around there.
I stopped at previews.
I said to myself, at season 8, they hyped it up the fight. I was like, if it ends awesome, and I'm like, I gotta watch it again. I'll continue.
Well,
Right.
I didn't even. finish.
the way they did his character, they made him. He's not even an anti-hero now. He's kind of they're trying to get him into being a
Good guy.
Hero.
good guy.
Mhm.
And the funny thing about, I don't read the comic books at all. I've never read it. Well, actually, I read a little bit, but
I read all the way up to the prison,
Yeah.
but which isn't much.
But
I know about the whispers. What happens with them.
but he don't tell me 'cause I don't
I
know.
won't tell you.
Whispered him.
I think it's much
Whispered.
different though. The show, for sure.
Possibility.
Yeah.
What I know about Negan in the comics, he was always a bad guy. I don't know if he became a good guy or what.
He's
I don't know.
manipulated.
He I don't know how to do it without spoiling, but it's pretty much what he says.
Oh.
He just
Yeah.
both sides. What he's always. It's like what can
Negan's
you get?
for Negan.
Negan is for Negan. Just
Yeah.
remember that. I don't know how the show will do
I
it.
don't see them doing that with this
But the comic is
situation.
Negan for Negan.
Right.
I don't see them doing this situation because they lost Rick, or he's still around, but there's not. But
He's out there. So
I
to be
agree.
continuing the movie,
I think
they
Negan
lost the
in the
actor
show
playing Rick or
Should stay
whatever.
good. I think they need that.
So
I
that's the
think they
thing.
do need
They're
that
having to have
redemption.
a Rick replacement is what he's going to become as a Rick
Right.
replacement.
And that almost
basically.
might make me come back though. I'm honestly interested to
I
see
mean,
a good
this
guy
season-
Negan
this
where you
season
actually care.
When Rick left,
Mm-hmm.
it was a breath of fresh air, and they jumped forward a little bit, and it was actually a breath of fresh air, and it was like a whole new show now,
I'll have
and
to
it
give it a
actually
shot.
gotten better. It's gotten better since then, and that was
season
what-
9, right?
Yeah, and that was like 2 or 3 episodes in is when
Right.
that happened. 3 episodes, 4 maybe, and then after that, it's actually become really good, a lot better than it was.
Right.
I will
Past
say though,
couple
they make
seasons.
him bad in the show though, and he turns bad again. I don't think it's gonna work. It's gonna.
All they need is these kids to knock him over with a sign, and he's going to become evil. I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's all it
That- Yeah, exactly.
Oh, isn't that the worst in movies when your villain
I'm
dies
sorry,
in this
that's
pathetic
like,
way?
that's what it looked like.
And it built up, and you're like, oh, how are they gonna take him out? And it's the worst. It's just so stupid.
Oh yeah.
That's horrible. That's
Sometimes
soul crushing.
oh yeah. Similar but a bit different. There's a western. I forget what it was called, but there's this build up. They're pushing this one villain like he's a real badass and stuff like that. Oh, you better not cross with this guy.
Yeah.
But then they have the hero just walk right up to him and just shoot him in the head real quick, and he's out.
So Indiana
But it
Jones-
worked for that movie.
Oh, it worked,
They
yeah.
played it, and then it's just like bam.
But we were talking about villains being threatening looking.
Right.
There was a show, golly, just recently. It was been a few years. The first season actually was filmed in North Carolina. It's about the
Dawson's
world.
The dome or no?
No. The world like losing all its power or whatever type thing,
Yeah,
and
what was
where
that
we're
called?
putting set in the dark ages or whatever, like overnight or whatever.
Yeah, they shot it here.
And the first season was here. The second season I think was filmed somewhere else.
Maybe.
But anyway,
Oh, I did see that.
I don't remember the name of
I
the
can't remember
show
it
at
either.
all.
Yeah.
It's
It was
like a one
J.J.
word.
Abrams was produced it or whatever.
I do remember that.
But it was or was it not? It was John Favreau produced. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. And the concept of was everybody was in these different groups or whatever, kind of like similar to
Yep.
The Walking Dead a little bit. They were all in this groups or whatever type thing over the country, and they even showed a map of where everybody's territory was and all that stuff.
Right.
And that it was, I don't remember the guy's name,
I didn't like it.
but they always talked about the guy's name. The bad guy, the name was like, you don't want to mess with so and so. Ooh,
Right,
ooh,
right,
like I said, ooh.
That's his name.
Everybody was like, well, I'm going to tell so and so on you. Ooh, we don't never see the guy yet. We haven't seen the guy. We don't even know. We just hear about
Right.
people saying, oh, you don't want to mess with him.
Building him up.
I'm going to tell
Yeah.
so and so on you if you don't do this. And
Right.
like, oh yeah. And the guy, the guy they show is like tiny and like skinny and like.
Ugh.
And like not threatening looking at all, and even like with the woman he's holding and he's threatening and everything, she's taller than he is. I mean, he's
Apple
shorter,
boxes,
and it's just
apple boxes.
exactly that's what I'm saying. If they had an apple box, maybe it would be better. But he's like the actor.
Is he
The
designed to look like
actor's
a
like
hacker?
she's like towering over him and like. Okay, is this guy supposed to be scary or whatever? And he's a bad character. He's the bad actor. I don't know who. He was like I had never seen him before in anything,
My
and he
main-
was a bad actor. And it's just like.
My problems
And I
began
just
really
jumped short
quickly
really
with that
fast.
show. I started off, and the first sequence was okay. People in an old van in the woods or whatever. But then, then they showed the habitat where they live, and I'm like, okay, I'm out. And it was people in very clean, almost looked like you could see the creases in the clothes that they wore. Like they just pulled those out of the sack and wore them,
Mhm.
you know. And then they were riding horses and had swords, and I'm like.
Was that the same show you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that
it's
show.
just
that,
like-
they lost me right at
And
the
the
beginning.
funny thing about it is the guy, one of the actors on there was like big like I am. And I'm like, why? Everybody else is skinny. I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute. We lost power. We lost a lot of stuff. Like the world has become, why are you in bad shape?
God finds a way.
But I mean, he was the thing about it is he was the only one of us. Everybody else was in good shape or thin or whatever type
Right.
thing. But he was the only one. Like I said, I'm not picking on him because I'm big myself, so I can't say. But it's just that it just kind of really took you out. I mean, it was badly written anyway.
Yeah, just
It was just
overly clean clothes with people that are survivalists bothers me. I'm just like, it takes me out. I'm like, that just came right out of
Walking
the
Dead has
package.
at least what you
You
can
can
say
even
about the
wipe
writing.
like lame dirt on it
Yeah.
to make it seem.
What you can say about Walking Dead, it might have some bad writing here and there, but you can at least they looked
The
like they
production
were been
values.
through
there.
Oh,
crap.
you're completely in that world thinking it's
Yeah.
real.
You don't hear the jokes anymore about like, why is that lawn cut? And
Yeah.
stuff.
I love those.
In the beginning.
I never noticed it, and I'm like, yeah, why is that cut?
That reminds me, actually, Maris from Frasier, where they never showed her just
Mm.
because they kept
Mhm.
adding things. Like, no human being could possibly
yeah,
be
right.
like that and live.
Yeah.
Like she's
So they
always
never
white
showed
skin,
her.
always like ivory skinned or
Yeah,
whatever. like
she's got
this.
scales and webbed
Right.
hands.
Yeah.
Like she's really thin,
She's
always thin.
below
whatever,
freezing
yeah.
temperature all the time. Her
Um,
tongue's blue.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody wants to ruminate on as far as like bad folk in movies or TV shows or stories in general?
I was just curious to hear from you guys. What was the movie you went in that was underwhelming? that you were hyped, but then it just
Oh, geez.
Shattered you.
Matrix 2. Oh my
Really?
gosh. Episode 1 of Star Wars. Stuff like
yeah.
that.
Can I ask you guys about that? I watched a
Yeah.
documentary on that. It was
Sure.
really funny to watch.
Right?
It's the whole thing about it. People hyped.
Oh, yeah.
Could you say that movie had the same hype as Avengers Endgame? With the amount of everybody talking and wanting to go in it.
Kind of, yeah.
Anyone who knew was
I mean,
going to go
Probably
see
so.
it.
the internet was very early stages then, so you didn't hear
Yeah.
as much, kind of,
Didn't seem like then, but it was.
right.
Yeah.
But
You could probably
know,
compare that to
yeah.
that, right?
Oh, yeah. Lots of commercials, of course. And honestly, first 20 minutes, I was okay. And then Jar Jar showed up. I wish they had made him evil like that planned, but, they didn't.
What was
And
the feeling you sitting
the
in that
thing
theater?
is, kids love Jar Jar,
Yeah.
so it was sort of like, okay, this is the Ewoks, but the Ewoks weren't around the whole movie, and Jar Jar
Yeah.
was
But
kind of
they were dark.
evil.
They ate those
vicious.
clones.
Yeah, the Ewoks were vicious.
I mean, they ate the Stormtroopers.
They ate them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the end scene.
And I liked the Ewoks because I was a kid.
I still like them. But what was that feeling you had though? Like when you saw it, I was just curious. Like
Just kind of like, oh well, okay, there we go.
I'm kind of thinking like, is this supposed to be racial or type thing? Because I mean, the Jar Jar spoke similar to what they.
Jamaican or like an
or-
island, Caribbean islander would be like.
Well,
and stuff,
he also
you know.
sounded like what they had Afro Americans portray in the some 40s movies, some like
Right.
as of course servants or
Comedy,
whatever
but
type.
the comedy relief.
They're talking and saying
of
yes,
thing.
massa thing, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
that he spoke similar to what they spoke during that time. So I was like thinking, is this kind of should I be I had to kind of want to know.
That,
It just like
That's around one of the big disappointments of that movie. What I liked about the originals was aliens spoke alien languages. It put me further into that unknown world.
that's
Here,
what they should have
they
had.
started off, all the aliens are speaking stereotypical English,
and-
and it's sort of like, I don't like this.
Same way thing with the green aliens. I can't remember the Trade Federation aliens. or
Yeah.
whatever. They spoke almost
It
Japanese-ish.
sounded like
A stereotypical Japanese Asian
Asian
speak
English. Yeah,
English.
you know.
So that's why I was just like, ugh. You just kind of like took it back to that because it's just like this is not the 40. Like I said, to me
No.
it was just like
yeah, that might have worked maybe back even in the 70s or early 80s or something, but it was just
because I
It's a
mean
little much.
Mickey Rooney did Mickey Rooney played a Asian. He's not Asian at all. He played it like they
right.
dolled him up in Asian makeup or whatever type thing to play an Asian.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what they sounded
yeah.
like,
It's
and,
where-
and it's just like
older society, newer society, this clash. We're seeing a lot of that now in politics.
And this is
but
this
then,
is 1998.
And Lucas
This
is not
you
he's not a racist.
Yeah,
He's
why do you
not.
think he went with that though? It looks like he.
Yeah.
I know he's not, but it made him really look like I could say.
I mean,
You know,
Can't argue.
Go back and look at the prequels. I mean, not prequels, but the original trilogy. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like you said, aliens talked with. They had.
and humans understood what they were saying.
Yeah.
You know?
We had to read the line and they had to read the.
Subtitles.
I love that
Yeah,
more.
thank
Like
you.
Game of Thrones, that tribe.
Yeah.
I
The Death
Oh, the
Note.
gift
I didn't
wrap.
have subtitles on, right? And they were just speaking, and I watched like the first couple episodes without
Yeah.
understanding what they were saying,
Yeah.
and I kind of liked it more because I had to look at their body language and kind of
Yeah,
understand,
you get-
and
you
I could
kinda
figure
get
it out a little
Yes.
bit, but it was very real, you know.
Mhm.
So then when I put subtitles on, I was like, oh, kind of like it the other way.
Yeah. I'm
But
with you.
I definitely like that, especially in German, like any World War II movie. I
Mhm.
hate it when the Germans are speaking English with
they're
their
British.
accent.
They're always British Germans.
It's like speak German, and I love it too
Yeah,
because my
yeah.
dad was German, so he translates it for me.
No, and
which is
no one,
hilarious.
there's
Oh, yeah.
usually no one's ever French.
Right. Yeah. They're British. The
Yeah.
British play everybody.
Yeah.
It's like
But I can't stand it either. I'm
Really,
like, speak,
including
British are fabulous
Americans.
speak the language, you know. Like,
Yeah.
don't be English. Like,
Because it puts you more in that world. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it. I want to make movies where I love world travel. I haven't done nearly as much as I'd love to, but I love the sounds of other places
Mhm.
and that kind of different environment. I really like it.
I mean, and the thing about it is that he says he made the original trilogy for kids. That was his thing.
Well, he definitely. I
Right.
feel like then
For sure.
you can't argue with him on that. Then. You know, he did succeeded.
Well, I mean, the original trilogy. Oh, I'm talking about the original trailer. Like,
Oh, I think you're talking about the new ones.
No, I'm talking about new
Oh,
trailer and all this stuff. He
shoot.
says he made them for kids, and I'm like, he made. And the kids can like them because I was 4 years old when I saw the first one, and of course a little older, but just that it
the
just
prequels for sure.
But like I said, that's why his argument when people say, "Oh, these prequels are just for kids," he said the original 3 were for kids, and that's why I made them. I'm like, no.
No.
So is ET, and you didn't need to replace the guns with the flashlights.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. That was lame.
I've got I'm not getting into that.
Maybe
Anyway.
we're drifting out of the villain thing,
Yeah.
so maybe this is a message from the film gods that we should end this thing, but and continue our talk.
Right.
Anything else about villains or anything like that? Anything?
You guys like Darth Maul?
I love
that's
Darth
the best
Maul.
thing about the prequel is Darth Maul.
I liked all that. It makes me wish they had kept him alive for that one and kept the enmity between him and
through
Obi-Wan all the
Obi-Wan.
way through. And that would have been a nice sub-story they could have built off of, to build that.
You would have felt that.
Actually, with Darth Maul, I felt like, okay, he's kind of evil. He's kind of a threat.
Mhm.
I can deal with that. I don't want to know his backstory. I don't want to know anything about that. Just keep him in.
Yeah.
Have him do a little more. Have him actually kill some other people or something in that to set that up instead of him. He looks tough, but have him do some bad things. It would have been better maybe if he'd killed the younglings or something. But I get it.
Going to a completely different trilogy.
Yes.
Gollum.
Yes.
A villain
Yeah.
that was
Oh, yeah.
pivotal to the end
Very
with
much
the
so.
hero.
But I think very
Like you had to have the villain in
Yeah.
order for the hero to succeed.
right, and I think in this sense that villain really works, even though you feel
was
kind of bad
threatening.
for him.
Yeah,
So
he
that's
was
an integral
threatening.
part
Yeah.
of that story.
Terrified of Gollum.
But
I wasn't sure he would bite off
And
Frodo's
Sauron
hand or
was
not
the
throughout the whole
ultimate
thing.
evil
to the
anyway.
end, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was not, like I said, he didn't start out being a villain, though. He was
You should.
He
It
was a
was
selfish
the
hobbit, but,
corruption from the inside to
Right.
the outside.
Exactly.
He was one of them river hobbits.
That scene gave me kind of the chills when he kills the other hobbit and chokes him.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh yeah,
got
I still
me.
get chills.
I still get, it's very realistic.
That
you know?
and whenever he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just killed his friend right there. I mean,
Right.
Mm.
I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. Greed is a powerful thing.
Mhm.
A lot of people go for it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with him at all.
No.
It's like,
I mean,
you
the-
saw where he came from. You understood where he
And the
came
books
from.
are like that. They write him that way.
Yeah.
He's meant to be a corrupted
It's because J.R.R.
individual.
Tolkien was a genius.
For real.
Mhm.
I want to watch that movie just to see. I hope they show him struggling in that process. Like, I want to know.
I bet he did. And
I want to know
If
his
If
struggles.
he
and why
wrote one sentence that he didn't like, he went back and rewrote everything.
Really? See, I want to see that kind of stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a great way to see, for me to go, all right,
That'll be a neat one.
let's see
So
how he did
He
this.
did
Let's see
fight
if I
in
can
the
do it.
World War One, right? So he
Mhm.
got a lot
And
of
that's what he drew
a
Yeah.
lot of the
all
influences for.
the
Yeah.
stuff from.
And if you see No Man's Land, like the pictures of that's Mordor, like all
Yeah, it is.
mud and
Mhm.
dirt and upturned.
I'm glad there's a movie
stuff.
about him though, because like I'm glad that people will know,
Right.
know who wrote that. Like, 'cause that's an achievement. man.
Maybe there's hope for the world after all. Maybe literature will be revered by more than just 10% of the world.
Part of the 10%.
Yeah.
What is this literature you talk about?
I know. It's from these things that are like this. I heard they're called books. I think I
I
used
know
to
you're
read
joking,
them,
but it still hurts me.
I know.
I've just been around with you. I like literature.
I read books on my iPad now.
I still read books. I still
I
read
like
audiobooks.
having like the audio reads.
Oh, yeah.
Someone reads it.
I like books on
I
tape.
like
That's
that.
good, that
Mhm.
is.
I like doing that.
Yeah. I'll end this thing. Anything else about villains?
I think we're good.
Okay. We're good, and we'll see you next time. Bye.